Yo, what's going on, gang? Rich from Tiger Fitness, just bringing you a review from the latest Hyrox competition, which was held at the London XL on Saturday the 19th of November 2022. Now, I've got no fancy gizmos. I've literally got my front-facing camera and I've also got my laptop in front of me with the notes that I've prepared. So if you see me looking down, that's the reason why. So I'm just reminding myself of exactly what I have written. The date was Saturday the 19th of November. It was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool morning. Location was London XL. Fairly easy to get to. It is within the congestion zone though. On Saturdays, the payments need to be made between 12 and 6. So if you manage to get to the XL before 12 and you actually leave the event after 6 p.m. in the evening, you don't physically have to pay that charge. The parking at the XL is adequate. It's quite good, but it's quite expensive. And for that reason, we actually ended up finding a hotel just down the road. It was the Travelodge Hotel at the airport, and it's £9 for a 24-hour period. So if you actually go to stay there the night before, pay for your parking, you can walk from the hotel all the way over to the event, which is about a 10-minute walk, do the event, spend the day at the XL, then go back and collect your car later on. You're pretty much covered. So this video today is just a roundup of mine and my partner Mini's experience at the London Doubles and a little bit of information after our experience from Birmingham and the differences that we noticed to have happened. Throughout the video, I'll be showing you clips of the footage that my fiance took. Hopefully, if it's your first Hyrox, give you a little bit of insight to what to expect, potentially how to train, any sort of common questions which are asked in the Facebook group. So for this event, our start time was 9:20. It is actually the last wave to kick off at Hyrox for the men's doubles. So that does mean that there's quite a lot of people already out on the field. I do believe it's a disadvantage to starting at 8 AM. If you start at 8 AM, then that is the first wave and there's absolutely nobody in front of you. There's minimal traffic. For those of you that have not done Hyrox before, Hyrox is an unskilled fitness event which allows anyone who is remotely into fitness to go in and challenge themselves. You just need to be able to put yourself in a hole and remain there for a while. You start with a 1K run and then go into an exercise and followed by another 1K run and exercise, and you repeat this for 8 times. Now the exercises at Hyrox are a 1,000 meter ski erg, 50 meter sled push. Now we're in males doubles and the males have to push 125 kg plus the sled weight. You also have to do a 50 meter sled pull. Male section in this was 75 kg plus the sled weight. After that, we're looking at 80 meter burpee broad jumps, a 1,000 meter row, 200 meters farmer's carry. That's at 24 kg on each kettlebell, and you have to carry 2 of those. 80 meter sandbag lunges. The weight on that is just a 20 kg sandbag, and 100 wall balls, which the male's weight for that is 6 kg. Everything is timed. From the moment you step into the track to the moment you finish, the clock is running. The great thing about Hyrox is you'll know almost immediately how long you spent in each section, so it's great for comparison in potential future events or against other teams or individuals. The rock zone is a place where you can lose a lot of time. It's easy to take a few extra seconds there, especially when you're gassed. You enter the rock zone as soon as you enter the in section from the running track, and that time is then recorded until you enter the exercise. Then another timer starts in that section until you're finished, and then you move back to the rock zone. Because of this, your times will always be seemingly longer on the rower and ski erg. Let's say you ski a 4-minute 1,000 meter, but your time shows a 4:20. It's because you're recorded from entering that zone, and that may take you 10 seconds to reach the machine, and then another 10 seconds to leave the ski erg section. At London, the warm-up zone was okay, but having done Birmingham just 5 weeks before and enjoying their warm-up zone being larger, it did feel a little bit enclosed in London. Within the warm-up zones, you do get your rowers, your ski ergs, there's also Concept 2 bikes, there's also sleds to sort of push as well to have a little playground. There wasn't as much space in this warm-up zone. I don't understand why they don't provide mats, because these floors are always solid, and if you want to get down and do a little bit of mobility, you know, your knees are often feeling it. We started earlier in the warm-up zone, but I still don't think that we'd fully warmed up before we entered the tunnel. We learned after last time that there can be a bottleneck as you start if you're further back. So I had to get in the tunnel early, which does have its pros. Semi-empty space in front of you as you head out for your fastest lap, but also you do start to cool down from the waiting. You're able to get in 10 minutes prior to your wave start time. Depending on how competitive you're feeling, I would suggest getting early. So into the running, and the first lap was great. A run time of 3 minutes 31 seconds and straight into the ski erg. Me and I had a tactic last time that I'd start every exercise and he'd follow. This time we decided that whoever was first, they would start. It worked well, but it's bloody tough heading back into the run straight after your contribution on the exercises and the extra exertion. Handy though that your partner has a bit of rest and then is then able to pace a faster run lap. On the ski erg, and we broke this down evenly. Switched every 250 meters, allowing each partner to contribute with a little bit more power, but also enjoy a slight rest while the other one worked. The monitor is reset for you at the start and the screen shows your predicted 500 meter time. We were happy with a 140, 145, but I think we moved a little bit faster than that. New rules this time, your partner had to stand on the yellow mat. Me and Meany are close, but we're not that close. As he was skiing, I was receiving a free lap dance. The ski ergs were also too bunched together in my opinion on this event. The guys who were next to us were using the butterfly technique, and so we ended up bumping arms quite a lot. First one's in and out from our wave, time of 3 minutes 34 seconds, and we're moving well. I'm feeling it more because I was the last person to exercise on the ski erg and my heart rate's a little higher and we're moving faster than what we've done before. Into the sled push, and when Meany went, it allowed me to get some air back in. We broke it up to 1 full length each. If you stop anywhere along that track, it takes more effort to restart again, so you're just best to grin and bear it for the 20 seconds or so that it may take you. The sled can be deceptive and the sudden presence of lactic acid can be overwhelming, and when you're already out of puff, in my opinion, it's better to slow down here, get the movement done and then make up the time on the runs. A frequent question in the Facebook group is, what trainers should I wear? Well, we wear the Nike Pegasus Zooms. They're lightweight, really comfortable, have arch support and have great grip, which really helps you gain traction on the track. Now I know it sounds like I sort of promoted Nike a little bit, but these are our beautiful Nike Pegasus trainers. They're the Air Zooms, they're the 38s, and actually currently, as of this date, which is the 30th of November 2022, these puppies are about £70 on the Nike website. As you can see there, they've got the lace lock, which we've already sort of done. They're lightweight, they're comfortable, and they're grippy as hell. I actually use this trainer for my training. I've been doing a lot of training indoors, and I've used it for Hyrox, and I felt brilliant. Later on I go on to talk about a blister, but I don't think it's got anything to do with these. I felt good with this and always adopt a lower body position to help the sled push along the floor better. Higher positions create more downward force, and so it's harder to push. The 10 seconds recovery walk is well needed after. Whatever you do, do not stop. At least even walking, you're still gaining meters. After the sled push, your legs will have so much lactic acid in there, you'll feel like you physically can't move. I remember in one of my singles, I pushed that sled so hard that when I came out of it, I went to run and my legs they didn't want to work. And it probably took me a good 25 to 30 seconds for them to start to come back to life. But I didn't stop. You've got to carry on walking, get some blood flow to it, keep the movement going and still gain those extra meters. So first in wave again, time of 1 minute 54 seconds and then back to the track. This run was a good one. We held together well and I was first on the sled pull. There's many ways to pull that thing back, but the most efficient way for me is to get my feet to the end of the box, squat down, butt lean forward, take the slack out the line, drive the feet into the floor and push backwards. And as soon as the sled starts to move, use that momentum and start pulling in with the arms too. You may only get an extra half at each time, but it will save you at least one pull by the time you get to the end of the track. If you check out the guys next to us, he's just planted his feet into the ground and he's using his upper body to pull the sled in. It's a recognised movement, but not one that I'd recommend. You use too many smaller muscles which can fatigue quicker and it's not efficient. It's easy to get away with doing this in doubles. It's half the work and more rest, so getting a nice pump on for the photos could be a good idea. The judges were very good for the standards of this Hyrox. After Birmingham there was a lot of lazy standards, and so there was a bit of negative feedback on the Hyrox Facebook group. This was certainly addressed in Hyrox London. Some movement standards were not passed on to us however, but I'll speak about that when we get to the rubber. We broke this down how most people do, 1 full length each. Once you have momentum, just keep moving. First in wave, time of 2 minutes 14 seconds. The running starts to get a little bit harder now, but we managed to keep together well on this run and get into the burpees. The lady judge was very insistent that she wanted us to start on the pink line. This was after saying start behind the line and not specifying which colour. There was pink and white line and I started on the white. Which it does seem why I get a little bit annoyed here. I do. But mainly because I'm looking forward to my 6 seconds rest as Meany does his burpees. We broke the exercise down into 3 reps each, good enough to keep powerful and not exert too much energy, and get a few seconds recovery between each sets. We started to move slowly on this exercise. In Birmingham we were much more fluent, but we had been moving slower beforehand. Here we were just moving as fast as we physically could. There are a few ways to complete the movement. The best way is to conserve energy using a single leg step from the burpee position and then utilising both legs for the broad jump. That's where it really counts. You're allowed to do this along with the double foot jump into the broad jump, but it just zaps the legs and makes it more harder for the run. First in wave, time 2 minutes at 25 seconds. The next run was certainly harder. As you can see here, I was a few seconds behind Meanie. I'd developed a blister on the pad of my foot, and I've got to be blaming it on the swerving in and out that we were doing to have to get around people on the track. Hyrox rules say left lane is for the faster runners, right lane for the slower runners, and obviously everyone runs at their own pace, but you must know whether you consider yourself as a faster runner or a slower runner, and there was just too many people in the fast lane running slowly. I think there needs to be some kind of management for this. Half the competition is on the track and there is no one there to advise people what lane they should be in. Meanie started on the rower, which gave me a chance to get a tactical lemon bonbon in. In fact, it was actually so good I followed it up with the blue raspberry one after. I needed that sugar hit. Having still fighting off a cold, I just felt slow, heavy, and my energy was depleting. We were aiming for a 140, 145 on the rower, changing around every 250 metres. In Birmingham, we gave each other signals and the other would come from behind, loosen the foot straps, and whoever was rowing kept the rower going, then very slickly switched over. It's never been an issue before, but the judge did come over and told us we weren't allowed to do it. Frustrating because it's not in the rules and it hadn't been mentioned anywhere. The guys next to us were just as shocked with the announcement, but we adapt and overcome. The row is always a nice station to grab air and a bit of rest. Nicely placed, sort of in the middle of the workout as well. Obviously when your partner is working, you're recovering as best as possible, and then when you're working, you're actually sat down. Rowing techniques differ, but you've got to push with those legs. Imagine performing a deadlift with every row, keep the midsection tight. The guy here as we're leaving is using far too much of a body. I can only imagine how gassed he came out of that section, but his legs probably felt all right. First in our wave, total time 4 minutes 2 seconds. Back to the track and the blister is giving me absolute jip. I didn't tell Meanie about the blister as I didn't want him to slow down and I needed him to keep the pace up. Farmers walks are a quick station, 2 24 kg kettlebells for 200 metres. We broke this up in half. Mean jogged the first section and I jogged the second. This is also a place where you can grab a bit of breath back, so if you want to walk it you can do, but obviously when you're holding the weight for longer you're actually starting to use up more energy needs. Shoulders, your back, your traps start to feel it. We're unsure of timings here. Our stats showed 46 seconds, which although is fast, I don't think we're that fast. Usually you get your time and then your overall place in comparison for everyone else who entered. We got that for the exercises, but the placement for each run didn't show, and so is a mystery. The next run was a howler for me. I started to fall behind Mean. Lucky enough we have sexy shorts so I can see his bum in the distance and it gives me the pace to aim for. We started the lunges and I'm going to be honest, I started to lose a bit of thought process. I didn't know too much apart from we weren't far from finishing and that we had a game plan to break the lunges down into sets of 10. I then soon realised that we managed to catch up with the lads from Rev who were doing bloody awesome. We passed them, offered words of encouragement and proudly moved along the course with good sets of lunges and transitions. The most important thing here is that we didn't drop the sandbag. We were unfortunate to drop it in Birmingham and got sent back 10 metres as a penalty. We actually worked it out that it probably cost us about 25 seconds, which is a kick in the teeth because there was 23 seconds between us and third place. So if we hadn't have had the misfortune of dropping the bag, we would have come third, taken podium and not finished 6th, which is still an incredible achievement, but it wasn't what we wanted. Movement standards here are knee to ground and fully locked out as you step over. When doing this in singles, I tried to break it down in 6s, but soon needed to do a check step every rep because the legs just fill up with lactic acid and they get so heavy. Right, bag off, first in wave with a time of 2 minutes 36 seconds and off on our last run, which is always the hardest and the slowest, and you can just about see me here in Meanie's dust, foot throbbing, no energy and just relying on other people's wind to pull me round. Into the wall balls and we've broke these up into 20s. This does mean that one partner does one more set than the other, but aces in their places and Mean's deep squat has taken the lead on this. 6 kg wall ball thrown up to the 10-foot marker 100 times. I can tell you now, doing this in singles hurts and it sucks, and all those athletes that manage to do this unbroken, I salute you. I've done this fresh, can go unbroken in about 3:35. I've also done this twice in singles, and each time I start well, then have to break it down into 10s. The great thing again about doubles is sharing the workout, and every second you're out there accumulating either distance or reps, so in theory you never stop moving. Once when you had 2 more left, I'd get ready to jump in and catch the ball, then go to my first rep. Save seconds and dropping the ball or passing it to your partner, as you can see the gents do next to us on the right. The crowd and the atmosphere are awesome, but to be told the truth here, you're that much in the zone, you're that fatigued, you can't hear anything apart from your brain screaming at you just to rest. But you have to move past it. Keep squatting, keep throwing, and keep working through the pain. Sounds awful, but the sense of achievement after is next level once you run up that finisher's ramp and you've completed it. Wall ball's done, first in wave, total time of 3 minutes 39 seconds, and we managed to finish in 57 minutes 38 seconds, which is a whopping 40 seconds off our Birmingham time just 5 weeks before. Sadly, not fast enough for podium finish this time. We came 8th overall, and 6 of those finishers were actually in our age category. If we would have got this time in Birmingham, we'd have guaranteed a podium finish, but London was busier with fitter athletes. We're chuffed to see 8th out of 363 teams. We also came above Charlie Marchon and his partner, who are very fit lads, so it's nice to be able to measure against people like that. At the end of the race, there's always a cool finishers area where you grab photos and free samples of protein shakes, bars and fruit to help you come back to life. For anyone looking at doing this, I definitely recommend it. The price rises higher each time we do it, and the additional fees are costly now, but the focus it gives you in your training is great, and you can't put a price on that. We're heading back in May 2023 for World Champs, so it's going to be an exciting 6 months of training for us. Hyrox home time now. We spent just 5 minutes 23 seconds there, which is just carrying on the run to the station you're heading to and then running out of it back onto the track. Still an additional 5 minutes worth of running here, so definitely worth considering doing 1.1 Ks when you're training for your 1K splits. Run time in total was 31 minutes 9 seconds. This doesn't include the run in the rock zone, just on the track, and overall was 8th on the day, 6th in our age group. Final summary from me then, another great event by Hyrox, and a massive thank you to all the volunteers that make these events happen and so much fun. I'd like to see more companies like Moju there. The food spring stand seemed a little bit bare. The staff, although were amazing, were nothing on the Moju staff that we saw back in London last season, and the little mini shots that they brought, the ginger and the turmeric, I started to get addicted to. I absolutely love them, and now I purchase from them more often than not. I actually did think that by entering some of these competitions I might get a few little samples for free again. That didn't happen, unfortunately. I do think Hyrox is missing a trick, and that is some form of after get together, whether it be at a bar or whether it be at a restaurant, or whether they organise some sort of protein testing or whatever it might be, which just gets people to come together and interact after the event, and probably put on some nice clothes as well. So the Hyrox organisers could literally say, we've hired this place out, or we recommend this bar, and if everybody wants to get there from 7 PM, you can absolutely do that. We're going to have a couple of Hyrox reps there, we're going to play a couple of games and just get everybody interacting together face to face. I think that would be awesome. That's it from me. Hopefully this video was informative if you're planning on attending or participating in a Hyrox event soon. Anybody that is watching this that has already attended and will be going to the World Champs in 2023 in Manchester, then hopefully see you there.